Hello, and welcome to this presentation of BC Moments from the Knowledge Network. We're about to take you on 10 excursions to spectacular locations and events throughout British Columbia. The productions you will see were created by the Knowledge Network to introduce British Columbia's rich diversity to viewers of our educational television service. Now it's your turn to enjoy the scenes. Many people and organizations helped us make these pictures, and we gratefully offer our thanks for their support. And now, sit back and enjoy some colorful explorations of our beautiful province on BC Moments, Volume 1.
The Kelowna Regatta is probably the biggest family picnic that I've ever been to, and it's just a good, fun summer activity. Corporate sponsors are part of the reason that we can make this thing all happen. It's a very expensive event to put on when we look at the costs of all the things that have to be done to make the park usable. And the corporate sponsors have been very good. We get fabulous support from our city, from our corporations, from the citizens, and really it's just everybody that has something that they can contribute seems to be happy to say, let's kick that in and let's make the whole event happen, because it really is, in the long run, a very good event for the community.
Williams Lake is known worldwide for our Stampede, and we're proud of it. The Williams Lake Stampede, of course, is set in a natural rodeo bowl and setting. The grandstand does protect the spectators from the weather, although generally it is nice. The competitors, of course, come because we're one of the largest rodeos in Canada as far as purses are concerned, and without the competitors and the spectators, we wouldn't have the successful rodeo, and everybody enjoys coming to Williams Lake because it is successful. There's something for everyone. Truly there is, and if there isn't, we'll find something for them.
Cowboys really like this rodeo. You know why? I think, again, it goes back to because we try to put it on in the real atmosphere, the authentic Western atmosphere. We have excellent grounds. We try to treat them just great because they're only here for a couple hours sometimes and they're gone again, but we want them to remember Williams Lake. And they all do. They come back year after year.
Let's go, boys.
The Williams Lake Stampede is a great time because there's lots to do, different things to see, and there's things for everybody.
Probably the biggest family-orientated rodeo and sporting event that goes on in the interior of BC.
Well, just come and be prepared to have a good time.
In 1986, Williams Lake is one of the places to be.
The legendary Kettle Valley Railroad was completed during the First World War. It serviced the area between Hope and the West Kootenay for over 70 years before the steel rail fell silent to progress. Today, most of what remains are photographic memories of whistle stops with Shakespearean names, old engines and station houses, and the faces of railroaders who kept those engines and everything else running. But recently, the silence of the rail was broken by the long-forgotten sound of an old friend. Just east of the Coquihalla summit, near the quiet little village of Brookmere, two members of the West Coast Railway Association arrived with their restored old Fairmont speeder. Their mission? Not only to have fun doing what they love best, but also to bring back life to those historic rails, if only for a moment.
Killer whales are found all along the coast of BC, with the highest concentration in Johnstone Strait. About 200 miles north of Vancouver, between Campbell River and Port Hardy, Johnstone Strait is a narrow part of the inside passage between Vancouver Island and the mainland. This body of water, stretching 60 miles, is home to about 250 of BC's 300 or so killer whales. On northern Vancouver Island, in the village of Telegraph Cove, the main attraction in summer has been sport salmon fishing. But now, people are also coming from around the world to board the Gikumi for one of its nature cruises. Originally built to carry freight out of Telegraph Cove, Bill McKay and Jim Bowron formed Stubbs Island Charters to add nature cruises and dive charters to the Gikumi's duties. While the Gikumi provides a multitude of supply services to isolated local residents, Bill and Jim have more fun introducing visitors to the local killer whales.
Okay, how many whales you got? How many can you count there?
That's for a long time.
Ooh, look.
13
animals. Okay, 13 whales, all right.
Half of A5,
yeah.
six whales.
Yeah. Is the calf in here? Have you noticed?
And each pod, no.
There you go. Oh, that's a nice group. There's a big fin there. I don't recognize that fin.
The sights and sounds of nature are not all the Gikumi has to offer. The boat often becomes a floating classroom, as Jim lets people hear some of the local whales conversing.
And the last pod is X-pod. This is the transient, and to me they sound really different and kind of eerie. Pretty different. Sounds like they've been in the wine. We had M-pod here yesterday. There's 3 whales in M-pod. They started off near Telegraph Cove in Beaver Cove the night before, and then spent all day yesterday working their way down the straits, and people kept seeing them and telling us where they'd seen them, and they ended up down around Kelsey Bay. M-Pod has got a big bull with a mangled up dorsal fin. It's very easy to identify now, and he's got a deformed chin. Of course, they named him Charlie Chin, and they've nicknamed a lot of the whales over the years for easy identification.
Robson Bight is a small area within Johnstone Strait designated as an ecological reserve for the whales. It is an area Jim and Bill are dedicated to protecting.
The beaches are just tremendous. They'll go right into the rubbing beaches and work in about anywhere from 5 feet of water to 2 feet of water, you know, and they're rolling in on the gravel. Yeah, the gravel it's small gravel, but that size, about the size of M&Ms. It's really smooth gravel. And we see them going in there sometimes 4 times in a day. They'll come down and they'll rub, and then they'll head off again and go fishing. And
so can people sit on the shore and watch?
No, it's completely shut down. We're asking people not to go into the reserve at all, and the only way you can go in is with a permit. If you have a permit from the Ecological Reserves Branch in Victoria.
Although their whale tours offer a pleasant day trip for tourists, Jim and Bill hope to leave a deeper impression.
Something that we've always felt is very important is education. We want people to enjoy themselves and see what we've seen for many years. At the same time, go away with an understanding about an animal that is very important on the coast of British Columbia. There's only about 300 of them left, and the public doesn't get a chance to see them other than in aquariums. I think aquariums are still very important because it allows the mass to see them, and it educates a whole new generation time and again. But when they see them in the wild, it's a whole different thing. The animals do behave differently, and it's nice to see them in their own environment. So I guess it's partially fun, it's entertainment, but also I think the educational aspect is very important.
Many people that we've had on the tours come off at the end of the day and they say, you know, I've never seen anything like that in my life. And it's a tremendous thing to talk to a gentleman who's in his 70s or 80s, and at the end of a day like today, comes off and says, I've never seen anything like that. I just can't believe it. I always thought whales were very dramatic in a pool and so on. But when you see them out in the wild like this, traveling in family groups and talking to them, and talking back and forth underwater, it's a good experience for them. At first reaction, I thought, gee, you know, he must have led a very sheltered life, you know, and as local resident people, we tend to take it all for granted. And these people are just truly in awe of it, and it is a spectacular sight. It's a fun day, and I think our main message is they need their place. The whales need a place to be, and when whales are in Robson Bight, that's their place. That's not our place.
Every Labor Day weekend, Victoria's Inner Harbor becomes the stage for the Victoria Real Estate Board Classic Boat Show. Crowding the docks are spectators and more than 150 vintage boats and their owners. The vessels come from all over the Pacific Northwest and as far away as California and Alaska. Some of the craft date from the turn of the century. Others may be only a few weeks old but are built to classic designs. In the middle of this heritage city, the Inner Harbor becomes a floating museum, a glimpse of history in a festive atmosphere.
They represent an age that was gentler, slower, devoted to craftsmen, where good enough didn't do. It had to be just right before it'd be let out of the shop. It's nice to come in contact with that and remind ourselves that there were values that are a little different than what we learn to live with today, and maybe inspire us to do a little better ourselves.
This is British Columbia's mighty Fraser River. In places you can throw a rock across it. Not far from here are the headwaters. just a trickle on the ground. These Chinook salmon are at the end of an epic 800-mile journey from the Pacific Ocean to these spawning grounds, just an hour by car from the BC-Alberta border. The place? Mount Robson Provincial Park. Towering more than 13,000 feet above the western entrance to the park, Mount Robson is truly one of the most spectacular sights in British Columbia. Located 300 kilometers east of Prince George on Highway 16, this highest peak in the Canadian Rockies annually attracts visitors from all over the world. A few come to climb it, most come just to look.
It was created in 1913. It's the second park in the park system here in British Columbia. It really is one of the crown jewels in the park system. We do have many types of recreation here, from world-class mountains to climb. We have 3 campgrounds in the park, and we get quite a bit of use by people that come into the park just basically to camp and not to see the remainder of the park. We have several day hikes along the highway corridor for travelers that are coming through that would just like a half an hour or a 45-minute hike into an area that would be very, very scenic, such as Overlander Falls, Rearguard Falls. But the real essence of Mount Robson is the backcountry. And we have approximately 200 kilometers of trails here in the park that about 90% of the people that come through the park really don't see and aren't aware of. And the people that do come into the park with the specific intent of getting into the backcountry, it really is one of the most spectacular areas pretty well in the Rockies.
One of the most popular hiking routes in the park is the Berg Lake Trail. Nature lovers can hike the Berg Lake Trail in a day, but for those who want to take their time, there are wilderness campsites and shelters along the way. Park rangers hike in and out frequently and are always available for assistance or to answer any questions visitors might have. The trail takes travelers past beautiful Kinney Lake, named for one of the first climbers ever to attempt the peak of Mount Robson. From Kinney, the trail winds up through the Valley of 1,000 Falls. Upon reaching Berg Lake, hikers will find established campsites with firewood and a warm shelter for drying off. Like any great mountain, Robson makes its own weather, and it's not always sunny and warm. The Berg Lake campsite is an excellent place just to relax and enjoy the scenery. For the more adventurous, it also serves as a base for trips further into the backcountry. Berg Lake takes its name from the pieces of ice that break off the Berg Glacier, one of the few advancing glaciers in the Rocky Mountains. These melting icebergs can be seen floating in the lake throughout the summer months. As an alternative to hiking, Robson offers trails designated specifically for horseback riding. And with a guide or on your own, you're off on a most enjoyable journey through the high country. Heli hiking trips are available as well and are popular with visitors who wish to fly to a remote area of the park and then hike out. Canoeists and kayakers will discover unequal natural vistas along Robson's rivers, lakes, and marshes. Just off the highway, a pleasant excursion through Moose Meadows offers paddlers a chance to see some of the abundant wildlife that inhabits the park. Along with BC Parks campgrounds, several commercial facilities are available to park users. Mount Robson Guest Ranch has been providing down-home hospitality for over 60 years, serving visitors with meals, housekeeping cottages, and guided horseback trips into the scenic ranges. At the western entrance to the park, Robson Shadows Campground offers cabins and riverside camping. Or visitors can check in with Mount Robson Adventure Holidays for accommodations, meals, guided backpacking, and canoe trips. Outdoor recreation enthusiasts will discover that Mount Robson Provincial Park truly has something for everyone. Camping, hiking, horseback riding, or just plain sightseeing. Robson has it all.
Welcome to the Queen of the North. Our sailing time from Port Hardy to Prince Rupert will be approximately 15 hours. The captain and crew wish you a very pleasant journey.
Port 5 to 300.
Passengers leaving the ferry at Bella Bella are requested to proceed to the car deck now.